Why can't you resolve an argument with a narcissist? Disputes between people always arise. You might call it a fallout, an argument, a debate, a discussion, a reasoned exchange of views, a fight, a contest, or a blazing row. The label afforded to it depends very much on the participants in the exchange. When one of the participants is one of us, a narcissist, it always seems to be the case that it isn't resolved, certainly not to you as the non-narcissist's satisfaction. In order to understand why you can't resolve an argument with a narcissist, we first of all need to examine a dispute between two non-narcissists. Because they are non-narcissists, this means that they will have some emotional empathy, that they do not have an inherent need to control the other person, they do not operate regularly through manipulation, instinctive or conscious, and they have the capacity to understand the position of the other person. So, in this example, let us say that person A manufactures a particular product, and he has delivered these products to person B and rendered an invoice for £50,000. Person B states that some, not all, of the products have become damaged and therefore refuses to pay. It is unclear whether the damage occurred during manufacture, loading, transit, unloading, or storage. The evidence is yet to manifest in that regard. Person A, of course, wants his £50,000. Person B doesn't want to pay anything. They are £50,000 apart. However, because they are not narcissists, the dispute is capable of resolution because of the relative mindsets of the two participants. Person A's mindset is, I would rather receive £50,000, but I recognise that some of the products were damaged. It's unclear whether that was my business's fault or the fault of person B's business, and I recognise that that is yet to be determined, and therefore it might be the case that I can't fully claim all of the £50,000, and in order to reach a resolution, I will have to accept a lesser sum. I want to get on with my business, I want to get on with my life, and I would rather spend time growing my business and attending to my customers' needs than remaining entrenched in a dispute. Accordingly, if the individual pays me anywhere between £20,000 to £50,000, we can reach an accommodation. Person's B mindset is, I'd prefer to pay nothing, but I do recognise that not all of the products are damaged, and indeed possibly some of the damage was caused at our end, and therefore, whilst I may not have to pay everything, I will have to pay something. I want to reach a resolution because I want to get on with running my business. I want to attend to my other customers than remaining entrenched in a dispute. Accordingly, so long as the amount that the other person wants is within a particular price range, for instance, if I pay anything between £1,000 to £35,000, then we can reach an accommodation. You can see from what I have explained there that there is potential for the parties' mindsets to align. Neither want to control the other, neither need to try and extract fuel from the other, neither have a need to be manipulative. They also can put themselves in the shoes of the other person and see, I can understand why he may not want to pay the full amount because he believes the problem has originated at my end. They also have their own aims that they want to get on with, which are similar, namely running their businesses, servicing other customers, and not remaining in an entrenched dispute. Therefore, there is an overlap of agendas. And, furthermore, there is an overlap with regard to the amount that is required to settle the dispute, and accordingly, they reach an accommodation at £30,000. Neither will be out and out happy with this, but the dispute is resolved and they can get on with other matters. Person A has made a recovery, which is less than he desired, but is better than nothing, much better than nothing. Person B has made a payment which is more than he might have wanted to pay, but is still less than everything that was demanded. The two individuals have mindsets which can and do align, and therefore there is resolution. This non-narcissistic example demonstrates precisely why there is never any resolution, or at least it seems that way to you as the empathic victim, when engaging with our kind. The reason is there is no alignment of interests, unless you give in. And therefore, in effect, your interests haven't been aligned because you've had to forego them. Take, for example, in the scenario that I described to you, that person A is a narcissist. What is on his agenda? I've delivered the goods, I want to be paid £50,000 for them, and, assuming he's an unaware narcissist, I need to assert control over this person. Their failure to pay me threatens my control, and that's not allowed, and therefore I need to achieve full payment. I also would like to get fuel from them. Two additional agenda items that were not there in the non-narcissistic example. What about person B? His agenda is, I'll pay something but not everything. However, he doesn't realise, because he does not know that he's dealing with a narcissist, that he's dealing with somebody who has to have control, that his stance, even if it might be based upon the evidence, i.e. the fault lies with person A's factory, and therefore he is entirely justified on the evidence in not paying the whole $50,000, that this of course amounts to a threat to person A, the narcissist's control. So the problem is, person A wants to get control over person B but doesn't realise this because he's an unaware narcissist. Person B doesn't realise that notwithstanding what the evidence says and is in effect on his side, A won't agree to it because it threatens his control. But A doesn't realise that, and B doesn't realise what they're dealing with. And this is why there can't be an informal resolution between the two, and it would have to go to court and to a trial, with the determination being made by a judge who will ultimately, on the evidence, find in person B's favour. Person A will cry and whinge and moan about it, but will eventually be forced to pay. The resolution is imposed on that individual. It is not arrived at between the parties, because one of them will always resist resolution if it threatens control. Of course, if person B effectively states, look, I'll pay you the £50,000, then that is more than likely to give control to A. He accepts it, and B has to take a hit. But at least he's extricated himself from months, if not years, of litigation, tying up his time, money, and energy. Accordingly, when you have an interaction between a non-narcissist and a narcissist, the fact that we need control, the fact that your stance invariably threatens our control, the fact that we have no emotional empathy for your position, the fact that we are manipulative, means that resolution will only be achieved if you give us what we want, i.e. you stop threatening our control. You can't get us to accept the evidence. You can't bully us, threaten us, curse us, or persuade us. And if you happen to get an outcome which is satisfactory to you, you must understand you only got that because the narcissist wanted it too. If we didn't want it, we would continue to resist it. Take, for example, a situation between a narcissist and victim. The victim doesn't know that they are in a romantic entanglement with the narcissist. The victim is an intimate partner primary source, and the narcissist is an unaware mid-range narcissist. The two attended an event in the afternoon. The narcissist perceived, from his narcissistic perspective, that the intimate partner primary source ignored him. He was wounded, it threatened his control, and this ignited his fury. And now the narcissist, in order to provoke and gain fuel, has accused the victim of flirting with a member of the opposite sex, triangulation. The victim knows that she didn't do this, and is accordingly upset by the accusation, as well as being confused and bewildered. An argument about this ensues. What is the victim's mindset? 1. As a truth seeker, establish the truth that she did not flirt with anybody, and the narcissist accepts and understands this. 2. The narcissist apologizes for the false accusation. 3. What is the narcissist's mindset? 1. Assert and maintain superiority over the victim, i.e., get the victim to accept the allegation and apologise to gain fuel from the interaction. Notice how both parties have entirely different aims. Can the victim's requirements be fulfilled by the narcissist? The narcissist will not admit that the accusation was a lie, because you're dealing with an unaware narcissist, and even an aware narcissist would not admit to it, because it would be a transference of control to the victim, and that is contrary to the best interest of the narcissist. The narcissist maintains the lie, whether aware or unaware, in order to continue to assert control over the victim and to provoke to gain fuel. The narcissist won't apologise, because to do so, in effect, then admits that they are wrong. That means the narcissist is accountable. That means the narcissist has had to give up control to the victim, and that runs contrary to what the narcissism is there for. Furthermore, it will bring to an end the victim's hurt, upset, or anger, and thus halt the provision of fuel. There is nothing for the narcissist to gain in fulfilling what the victim wants, i.e. by apologising. Can the narcissist's requirements be met by the victim? Yes, but not in an intentional way by the victim. Owing to the fact that victims invariably don't know what they're dealing with, that they don't know that they're engaging with one of our kind, that they don't understand the concept of control, the concept of fuel, and that we have a different perspective to them, the victim cannot decide to keep on giving fuel, nor can she decide to give control to the narcissist. Instead, the hapless victim remains bound by her own mindset and desires, which are as a natural consequence of her perspective. She sees this as the only outcome which is right, because from her perspective, she didn't flirt. The narcissist truly believes that she did, because of his altered perspective. Accordingly, the victim cannot understand why the narcissist cannot accept that she was not flirting. She cannot understand why he won't apologise when he is clearly in the wrong. Of course, he can't see that because of his narcissistic perspective. She doesn't know that he needs control over her. She doesn't know that he needs to keep extracting fuel from her. Accordingly, she keeps trying because she's a truth seeker, and from her perspective, she sees that she is correct, so she keeps trying to get the narcissist to see her perspective and to achieve her apology from the narcissist. This is not going to happen. She doesn't achieve the resolution she wants. Every time she points out, but I wasn't flirting, she continues to threaten the narcissist's control of the situation, and therefore the narcissist will keep fighting back. Moreover, she's bewildered as to why the narcissist cannot achieve this resolution when it seems so obvious to her that she's right and he is wrong. The resolution will not occur on her terms because they are not aligned with what the narcissist wants. Instead, the resolution will only occur when she backs down and says, "Yes, I was flirting. Sorry for doing so." Her admission ceases any threat to the narcissist's control, and the fuel that has been provided heals the wound caused by her perceived ignoring of the narcissist. The narcissist has control, he's gained fuel, all is well. And therefore the matter is at an end. If the victim continues to assert her innocence, the narcissist is not able to gain control directly, and ultimately may switch to the indirect assertion of control, perhaps by going over and threatening the also innocent individual that was supposedly the recipient of the flirting, or, more usually, the narcissist will assert control by just walking off. And therefore, that allows the narcissist, from their perspective, to assert control. The narcissist will then go and gain fuel from other appliances to address the wounding that has occurred. From the narcissist's perspective, it is entirely logical. In his unconscious, he's gained fuel and healed the wound, and then the ignited fury abates. He may return to the victim and is pleasant, switches topic. Indeed, if the victim were to accept that she was in the wrong, the narcissist suddenly behaves in a pleasant way again, leaving the victim puzzled and open-mouthed at this sudden switch. Of course, this is the jump from black to white. The narcissist has been able to assert control. He's gained fuel. His aims have been achieved, which the victim unintentionally has fulfilled. Accordingly, the argument ends. The victim is puzzled because from her perspective, nothing actually has been resolved. She admitted that she was flirting, although she knows that she wasn't. And therefore, whilst the narcissist seems satisfied, she is not, because she is still wondering, why did he accuse her of flirting in the first place? And therefore, from her perspective, the argument is never actually resolved. If she continued to press on, she would be providing challenge fuel. If she continued to argue, and then the narcissist will respond with denial, deflection, projection, and a whole host of other manipulations until she either backs down or the narcissist is forced to assert control in a different way, either indirectly or by withdrawal. Accordingly, whenever a victim argues with our kind, the victim never feels like that there is any resolution because their aims are never fulfilled. Even when the narcissist aims are achieved and the narcissist instinctively halts the manipulation, the victim still understandably believes the matter to be unresolved and will keep going. This can then reignite the situation because the victim is challenging the narcissist once again. And from the narcissist perspective, you are seen as maintaining an argument unnecessarily. From this narcissistic perspective, you are the problem. It's only when the victim understands that they are engaging with a narcissist and that we adopt an entirely alternative perspective to yours, which alters the aims that we seek from the interaction, that you can achieve an alternative outcome. It's important for you to understand our alternative perspective. Of course, you won't like it and you don't have to, but you need to understand it. And then armed with this knowledge, you can either, 1, state your case once so that you know that you've stated it and you've told your truth, offer no reaction and withdraw. Or state your case once, offer a positive reaction to fuel the narcissist while avoiding feeling dismayed and hurt in achieving an outcome that you cannot ever achieve. Or, and the best option ultimately, is to realise, I'm dealing with a narcissist. There is no point in continuing. All I'm going to do is continue to challenge them. I'll provide them with fuel. I suffer an adverse consequence and my emotional thinking is going to go up. And therefore, I should withdraw and implement no contact to save myself this repeated aggravation of trying to get somebody to understand something which they are incapable of doing. You get drawn into the trap because your addiction says, get him to see the truth, your truth, but it's not his truth. And what you're trying to do is, in effect, get somebody who can only see the colours red, blue and green to see yellow. You will not ever succeed. But invariably, you don't know what you're dealing with, and therefore you keep going. And every time you keep going, by trying to persuade the narcissist, no matter how pleasantly, no matter how constructively, no matter how logically, the narcissist won't see it. And the narcissism rejects it over and over again. Because we have to, in order to preserve the position with regard to control. So it is fundamental for you to realise these are the explanations behind why an argument with a narcissist can never be resolved unless you basically give in. And even then, you can't understand why we maintain the position we did. And so on your side, it still remains unresolved. You need to understand the narcissistic perspective and then ensure that you're unaffected by it by avoiding continuing to press us, by avoiding giving us fuel, and you will avoid getting worked up, upset, angry, pissed off with the way that we are behaving, and you then reduce your emotional thinking because you're not interacting with us. And this is why the argument with the narcissist can never be resolved. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.